before we get started, as an agency in this community, we'd like to send our condolences to the Ellis family. It's unfair when a family has to lose a child, especially one to gun violence. My name is Keith Goyette. Last name spelling Goyette. I am Chief of Police of the City of Kinston Police Department. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to provide an update to this past weekend's homicide investigation, and I'll take some questions directly afterward. First, I'd like to recognize some members of our organization who had a proactive roles in this unfortunate investigation. I've got Captain Turner, who's the lead investigator with our investigations division. He's actually a captain. Captain Ord, who's not here. He's lead supervisor for our violent crime action team. And Captain Willis, who is actually on the street working right now. He was the lead supervisor that particular day, this past Saturday. I also have with us Sheriff Jackie Rogers from the North County Sheriff's Office. On Saturday, March 18, 2023, at approximately 1:40 p.m., officers were dispatched to the 500 block of Marcella Drive. This was in reference to a neighbor who called in what appeared to be a dead body laying on the ground of the west side of former school Teachers Memorial. Within minutes, officers arrived on scene and confirmed a young male was indeed deceased, lying on the ground. Officers located 3 empty shell casings at the scene. Officers were able to identify the deceased victim at the scene as Jaden Ellis, 16 years of age, of Kinston. The lead supervisor that day, Captain Willis, contacted the investigations division and the CSI team, and they arrived shortly thereafter. Investigators immediately began working to establish a timeline of events and began conducting interviews to determine who murdered Jaden. During the course of the investigation, it was determined that prior to the death of Jaden, there was also a vehicle theft at 701 West Vernon Avenue. That's the Z Mart. That's here in Kinston. That motor vehicle theft took place on Friday, March 17th at 9:25 p.m. 3 hours later, that same vehicle was recovered at an apartment complex off Old Snow Hill Road. Stolen from that vehicle was a firearm, loose change, and a cell phone. During this same period, we also received reports that a breaking and entering took place at a residence on Hyman Avenue. Items stolen from that residence were clothes and shoes. During the investigation, we learned the suspects depicted in the previously released surveillance video about the stolen vehicle. You may have seen it on our social media page. Matched the description provided by community members who were responsible for breaking and entering to the residence on Hyman Avenue. Over the course of the next few days, the Kinston Police Department, SWAT team, and Lenore County Sheriff's Office Special Response teams executed several search warrants where evidence of the breaking and entering on Hyman Avenue, as well as the vehicle theft, were located in those residences. During the execution of one of the search warrants, officers were fired upon by Tamira Arden, 48 years of age, of Kinston. No members of the Kinston Police Department, SWAT team, or the Lenore County Sheriff's Office SRT team returned fire. SWAT team members recovered spent shell casings and a firearm from that particular residence of that search warrant, and Arden was arrested and charged with felony assault on a law enforcement officer. I want to notate, at the time we discovered the young man that was deceased, we recovered the victim's cell phone and loose change that was previously stolen in that motor vehicle. At this time, the firearm has not been recovered. Subsequently, as a direct result of the endless efforts of the officers and detectives in direct pursuit of justice, we are pleased to announce the arrest of a 17-year-old Kinston resident for the murder of Mr. Ellis. This same suspect was arrested the previous night for the motor vehicle theft, and he is currently in juvenile custody. The Kinston Police Department places the highest priority on investigating crimes of violence perpetrated in our city. We will investigate such cases with no compromise for crime and continue to seek assistance from the community we proudly serve. As this case progresses, we are expected more arrests to follow. The juvenile that's in custody has been charged with murder, larceny of a motor vehicle, felony breaking and entering, and felony possession of a stolen vehicle. And like I said, we do expect additional individuals to be arrested. And that concludes the time frame of the timeline of what took place. At this time, I'm going to ask anybody if you have any questions. I'm more than willing to answer.
I was going to ask,
Sure.
the surveillance footage of the people stealing
Yes, it was actually two people. One of the individuals in the photo has been arrested and was one of the individuals involved for the actual murder, as well as the other crimes I discussed. The other individual, we're working on that. So I expect further charges in the future. I'm going to say no. Were some of these individuals involved in gang activity? Sure. But this, per se, was not a gang-related murder. No, that's not what the results indicate. Well, I hate to say, I hate to rule anything out as far as that goes. You know, anytime a murder takes place or a shooting takes place in the city, there is subject to retaliation. We really can't predict the future, so I hate to say that that's the case. Well, I hate to really disclose that right now because this case, even though we have made an arrest, it's still under investigation, and we're still working out some details as far as that goes. But I would say there was an internal matter between the individuals involved that resulted in that.
How did the community get tips from the community?
Well, we received tips from the community. We utilized numerous hours of surveillance video throughout the city of Kinston. The investigators involved, who are sitting in the back, poured in hours and hours and hours. They hit their feet on the ground as soon as this case happened. Our patrol personnel who was working that Saturday started canvassing the neighborhood. Investigators arrived on scene. They've worked day, they've worked night, and we did receive some tips from the community members that we were able to make this arrest.
And on social media, people put out names and things, but by law, being a juvenile, you can't publicize the name.
So no, the way it works with the law is I can provide a name of the victim, but I cannot provide the name of the suspect. So we're not going to produce any juvenile names at this time. So no, not necessarily. We've identified the individuals involved, but we would ask the public if they have any information regarding this particular case to please come forward and speak with us, provide that information. We have a very good case, but we would like to obviously make it as solid as possible. We want to get those responsible for this crime as well as any violent crime in our city off the street. So we will have the safest community in the East. That's our goal as a city and as an organization. So if we can work together and get those responsible for these types of crimes off the street, whether it's the city or the county, we're asking for the public's assistance for that, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I would say much like our police department, much like our city, our community is fed up with the crime in the city. Kinston is an amazing city. We're very proud of Kinston. There are some challenges in Kinston, but if you're from Kinston, you're proud of Kinston. So whether you live here, work here, or visit, you want Kinston to succeed. And we know the good of Kinston. Particular incidents like this, isolated incidents like this, it ruins the image of Kinston. So that's why it's so important for us to work together as a community. We've got stakeholders everywhere in our neighborhoods and our community who want to make Kinston better. And that's why we have to work together. If you see something, please report it, because we want to have a safe community. We want the safest schools. We want the best businesses. And it's just imperative that we work together as a team. This is certainly a team situation. It's not a police issue. It's a community issue. We need to work together to stop this madness from taking place. It's concerning when you have youth dying in the street at the hands of other youth, especially over frivolous items and things such as gang activity. This may not have been gang activity, but what's to say the next one's not going to be? We have to work together The men in our community, the fathers, we have got to start raising our children, taking care of what needs to be done so we can stop this. We cannot continue to lose young men in our community to gun violence. So that's my plea to the citizens. That's my plea to our community. I can tell you that as an officer, as somebody who lives in the city, who's invested, I'm tired. I'm fed up with it. And my guys in the back, who probably have about 80 hours in 4 days, they're tired of it too. So we need to really work together. And I know the community's tired of it. To answer that question, yes, the community's fed up. So we did receive tips from the community. I only think it's going to get even better with our community, with our interaction with our citizens, because we're just all fed up.
Mr. Ellis is a Princeton High School student. I've heard that the school offered counseling to students. As a city, do we offer any type of counseling or any chaplain assistance to the family?
So for our officers, we do have a chaplain. For anybody in the city, that chaplain's available, as well as the sheriff's office. For the family, we would absolutely offer that as well. For our officers, we have other EAP type situations. Our human resources works great with us for our city workers, but we're more than willing to facilitate that for the family, yes. And then the school system did an outstanding job on Monday providing that for those children at Kinston High School.
And does the state of North Carolina offer money towards a funeral or something? Did they have a victim fund?
There's a victims assistant fund, and it will help pay for things such as burial and funeral. And the victim's family will receive that information from our office, and we'll get contacted by the state, and we'll verify that and get all that squared away. That'll take a couple of weeks, but yes, they do.
Thank you.
So there was, on the deceased young man, he had some items on him, such as loose change and a cell phone. Those items were stolen earlier in the night from the vehicle. Yes. 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 So as far as the family, I can't speak on behalf of the family. I don't think that would be fair. But from a city standpoint, from a police standpoint, from a community standpoint, I would just say that it's beyond time for us to really come together and really take hold of our city and work together. And if you see something, please say something. Next week, I'm going to be introducing something, a tip app, and we'll probably put that out around Tuesday. And it's going to help our citizens. If you see something, you can shoot us a text, and we can respond. It's an anonymous type app. That'll be for Androids and Apple software. And that's how we have to work together. We've got to work together to beautify our city and make this a place that people want to come visit and live. So I just plead with the public, let's work together.
Will you be able to use that app starting next week?
That's the goal, yes. It'll be next week. Yep. Anything else? Okay. Well, that concludes today's press release. Thank you.